The world watches, holding its breath, as tensions flare between nations in the Middle East. Headlines scream of conflict, of potential escalation, painting a picture of uncertainty and fear. For many across the globe, especially those grounded in faith, these unfolding events trigger profound questions. Is this merely geopolitical maneuvering on a grand scale, or is something more significant at play? Could these conflicts be whispers of ancient prophecies, echoing through time into our modern world? The emotional weight of these possibilities settles heavy on the heart, prompting a search for understanding beyond the daily news cycle. Is it possible that what is unfolding before our very eyes is part of a greater, perhaps divine, plan that was foretold long ago? As the world's attention zeroes in on the simmering conflict between Israel and Iran, a particular question arises within communities of faith. With each report of escalating tensions, drone strikes, and rhetoric, many believers turn not just to news analysts, but to ancient texts, seeking context and meaning. The Middle East has long been a focal point in biblical prophecy, mentioned in various books as the stage for significant future events. Therefore, it is perhaps natural that any major conflict in this region would prompt a search for prophetic connections. The question whispers through congregations and online forums: could these current events be a sign, a marker pointing towards the culmination of history as described in Scripture? The intensity of the conflict, involving nations central to biblical narratives, adds urgency to this inquiry. Many feel a deep sense that they are living in significant times, and they long to understand if these geopolitical tremors are part of a grand design foretold millennia ago. The emotional hook is powerful. Is what is happening a mere coincidence of modern politics, or is it a chapter in a story written long before? The search for truth begins not just in analyzing current affairs, but in prayerfully considering the weight of ancient words. The inclination to link the current Israel-Iran conflict to biblical prophecy stems largely from the understanding within many faith communities that the modern era, particularly since the re-establishment of Israel in 1948, represents a significant stage leading towards the end times. Scripture, particularly in books like Daniel and Revelation, speaks of global powers and conflicts preceding major prophetic events, often centered around the land of Israel. For many, the return of the Jewish people to their ancient homeland after centuries of dispersion was itself a powerful sign, signaling that the prophetic clock was ticking in earnest. In this context, major players in the modern Middle East, like Iran, often associated with biblical Persia or related regions, become figures of interest within a larger prophetic narrative. Discussions often revolve around potential alliances, geopolitical shifts, and the role these nations might play in future predicted events. However, a crucial point often debated is the absence of *specific, direct prophecy that names the modern conflict between Israel and Iran with the precision some seek. While Scripture speaks broadly of nations in the region and future conflicts, finding an exact blueprint for this specific, ongoing tension proves challenging even for seasoned scholars and commentators. Searching through common sources of discussion within the faith community, one finds much speculation but less concrete textual evidence pointing explicitly to the modern Israeli-Iranian dynamic as a direct fulfillment of a singular prophecy. Thus, the central question remains: are we witnessing a clear sign explicitly detailed in Scripture? Or is this complex geopolitical situation simply occurring within the broader prophetic context of the end times, perhaps serving as a potential catalyst or type of future conflict, rather than the precise event itself? This uncertainty can be disquieting, leaving many believers wrestling between the desire for clear answers and the ambiguity of the present reality. Amidst the swirling questions about signs and prophecies, the true anchor for the believer remains unwavering faith in God's absolute sovereignty. The deepest lesson from the Israel-Iran conflict, and indeed from any global upheaval, is not found in the ability to perfectly predict future events, but in the profound assurance that God remains ultimately in control. His plans are not thwarted by the machinations of nations or the chaos of conflict. Scripture repeatedly affirms that he holds the rulers of the earth in his hands, turning their hearts according to his purposes, even when they are unaware of his influence. True faith, therefore, is not contingent upon understanding every geopolitical move or decoding every potential sign. It is the quiet, resolute confidence in a God who is bigger than any army, any nation, any conflict. It is trusting that his perfect will is unfolding, even when the immediate picture is one of confusion, fear, and suffering. This conflict challenges believers to shift their focus from predicting what will happen next to trusting who is in charge. It calls them to rely not on their ability to interpret headlines through a prophetic lens, but on the steadfast character of God, His faithfulness, His justice, His mercy, and His power. The key to navigating these turbulent times with peace is recognizing that while we may not know the exact timeline or the precise fulfillment of every detail, we can rest secure in the knowledge of His ultimate authority and His promise to work all things for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. This trust becomes the solid ground beneath our feet when the world around us feels like shifting sand. Bringing our journey through the lens of prophecy and faith to a close, the overarching truth that emerges is the absolute sovereignty of God over all nations and all history. While the desire to see current events as direct fulfillments of prophecy is understandable, the more crucial, faith-building response is not to become fixated on deciphering every geopolitical move, but to focus on cultivating a life of deep, abiding trust in the Almighty. Instead of expending energy trying to align news headlines with specific verses, believers are called to invest in strengthening their spiritual foundation, living lives of vigilance, prayer, and obedience. This vigilance is not born of anxiety about impending doom, but of a hopeful anticipation of God's ultimate plan and a readiness to serve Him in whatever time we are given. True hope is not found in the ability to pinpoint the exact timing of future events, but in the unchanging nature and sure promises of God Himself. It is found in the knowledge that His kingdom will ultimately prevail, that He will right every wrong, and that He is working all things towards a glorious conclusion. As we look at conflicts like the one between Israel and Iran, let us not be consumed by fear or the pressure to become prophetic experts. Instead, let us be reminded of the brevity of human power and the eternal greatness of our God. Let this serve as a call to draw closer to Him, to live lives that reflect His love and truth, and to place our unwavering hope not in deciphering signs, but in the One who holds the future in His hands. The choice before each person is profound. Will you choose to live in anxiety fueled by uncertainty, or in the unshakable hope found only in trusting God?